Let's get ready to rumble!
Yes, it was a simpler time in boxing when Mickey Duff would phone up Johnny Buss, the grave digger, to send over some bodies for the cartel's fighters to feast on. As much boxing knowledge as dudes like myself think we have, with tools like BoxRec and the other platforms that register records and little tidbits of information, with the willingness to do the research, you can find out so much more. And I know what Frank's going to do when Anthony Yarde fights this guy here. Yes, it's a tune-up. Stefani Koikov from Bulgaria, based in Germany. We're going to hear what a great statistical record he has in 12 knockouts, 1 loss. Frank's going to tell you how dangerous he is because he's a puncher. You know what I mean? Because he's got 12 stoppages and 14 wins. Problem is, 15 fights, 11 of the fights have been against opponents with losing records, including the fight that he lost inside the distance against Rene Mollick. His last opponent was 26 and 45 and 1. The opponent before that, 12-20 and 0. The other one before that, 7-9 and 0. 3 losing records on the bounce. The opponent before that was 3-1 and 0. The one before that was 13-69 and 0. The one before that 36-45 and 0. The one before that was 3 and 0. The one before that 3-26 and 0. The one before that 3-27 and 3. The one before that 2-10 and 1. The one before that 0-6-0. The one before that was 2-1 and 0. The one before that 1-3 and 0. That's the one he lost. And his first opponent was making his debut like he was. This isn't through Anthony Yarde being injured why he stayed out in the ring so long. This was Frank protecting him to preserve his title shot against BETERBIEV. He could have had a run out on the Tyson Fury card. But this warm-up is not going to shake off any ring rust. It's more a promotional tool to showcase Anthony Yarde. Yo, this is who BETERBIEV is going to fight. Because the fight's taking place in Britain. That's all this is. Nothing more. You know, Frank's advertising Daniel Dubois, who is the main event, as the heavyweight champion. On Queensberry, they've got him listed as the heavyweight champion. Not interim, not regular champion, heavyweight champion. And you're not fighting a ranked top 10 guy in the weight class. If you're going to advertise him as heavyweight champion, he should be fighting top 10ers. The guy he's fighting is ranked number 12 and not ranked anywhere else in any other sanctioning body apart from the WBA. They could have fought Michael Hunter, who's out of a fight since Hughie Fury pulled out. They could have fought Martin Bakole, Makhmudov, Lucas Brown. Oh, well, they substituted Lucas Brown for Kevin Lorena. Lucas hits a lot harder and is more experienced. We don't know what Kevin's going to bring. So that's Saturday after next at the Telford International Centre, headlined by Daniel Dubois.
A good cracking main event, as you say, number 1 versus number 3. What about you? Obviously, we're not going to see you in the ring this year. When likely are we to see AJ back in the ring?
I don't know. I was supposed to be in the ring this year. I'm going to be in the ring next year. I'll be in the ring when I'm in the ring. I don't want to make any statements today, then I'll get hold to the cross by it. So when I'm ready, I'll be back in the ring. Do you know what it is, yeah? I ain't championing. It's just hurting a lot, yeah? So I'm in the gym rebuilding and restructuring everything that I've got to do inside and outside the ring. There's a lot that goes on outside the ring in my life, which makes my ring life complicated. So I just need to simplify a lot of stuff outside the ring, and then I can just put my full attention. I can just put my full attention in the ring, really. And once I got that done, next year I'll be ready.
You make that sound easy, but that's not, is it?
Nah, my life's complicated. Like boxing become a bit complicated for me. Everyone's just trying to make the most of this time while I'm boxing.
Yeah, even if AJ's going to fight a journeyman, yeah, which he hasn't done since 2014 or whenever, right? Even if he's going to do that, he needs to get rid of all them things he's saying that are getting in the way of him boxing. Because you can make all these business moves, but the boxing is what started everything. It's a good thing Tyson fucked around and backed out of the fight. Because let's say AJ won, although Fury would have been a favourite, there's no doubt about that. Can't deny that. He would have been a favourite. But if AJ had won, it would have started all the hype again and he'd have all the same issues. He's got to resolve all these business issues outside the ropes. Not saying that's why he lost to Usyk either. He's got to resolve that. Training, boxing, win. Training, boxing, win. Training, boxing, win. Training, boxing, win. And just continue it and keep it going. Dan Raphael is reporting that Aidos Yorbosnoli is in a coma after getting knocked out by the Cuban David Morrell on Saturday with a brutal right hook, and he was taking a beating before that. He lasted into the 12th. I've only seen highlights so far. It was a brutal knockout. David Morrell actually helped him back to the corner with the referee. I was thinking, should they be moving him like that? That was on my mind. He got back up after the knockdown and tried to stand up, and he was going to fall back into the ropes because he was gone. David Morrell stopped celebrating and stopped him from falling down. And the referee and David walked him back to the corner somewhat, although he was in no man's land. Shouldn't the referee have told him, yo, just sit him on the canvas and let him get attention? Not saying that's why he ended up in a coma. Certainly not saying that. He was in bad shape, obviously, but there you go. Dangerous sport. Morrell goes to 8-0 with 7 knockouts. Bear in mind, I haven't seen the whole fight, but a lot of people are saying that the referee, Tony Weeks, should have stopped it earlier, or cornerman K. Karoma should have stopped it earlier. Somebody here is saying he's leaning towards the corner on who should have stopped it. They were still telling him he was going to be world champion after 9 rounds or so. And obviously he was taking a beating by this stage. And the same person is saying that Eidos, called him by his first name, never really showed he was hurt badly until the last few rounds. We saw the punishment he was taking, but he was still coming forward, still fighting. Look, you can throw blame around all you like. It's boxing. This happens. Yeah, people get caught up in the hype of the fight, and this guy showing durability and toughness, a willingness to carry on. This happens in boxing. On the undercard, PBC have got a few inactives. They got them in a ring on Saturday. Apparently Andre Dirrell was on the card. He beat Yunieski Gonzalez. Haven't seen that. TKO in the 10th. And Julian Williams returned to the ring. He won an 8-rounder. Kent Cruz. Haven't seen him for a while. He got a majority draw. I did see Jason Rosario get knocked out by the uppercut from Brian Mendoza, who was down twice in the 2nd and 5th. I think both shots were uppercuts. It's like this Mendoza is an uppercut specialist. He's won his last couple of fights via uppercut. Rosario was moving up to 160, thinking that this would be a change in fortune for him. He won his last 3 fights. One at 167, one at 160, and one at 163. Since losing via TKO to Erickson Lubin. And before that, losing to Jamal Charlo. 2 stoppage losses on the bounce. And he's retired. He's retired now. He said no more, no more. After losing to Brian Mendoza. The question is, when do we see Julian Williams back in the ring? 2025? Or Andre Dirrell? I thought Andre Dirrell retired, but there he is, you know. I have to see if I can find some of them fights, or at least some highlights. I was watching these two staring each other down, and Rakhimov, very intense tunnel vision and focused. I was wondering if ZELFA was a little nervous, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think Rakhimov just has a mean scowl anyway. What lost ZELFA Barrett this fight, in my opinion? Boxing is a mental sport, highly mental. And you have to know who you are, what you're capable of. If ZELFA knew how talented he actually was, the fight wasn't lost on the night. The fight was lost in preparation, mental preparation. ZELFA was physically bigger. I know Rakhimov is strong and he's a pressure fighter, but there were times in the earlier rounds when Rakhimov was trying to pressure ZELFA, and ZELFA would just push him off with ease. And my man would not fly across the ring, but be physically moved back by the push. ZELFA did not effectively lock up his opponent's arms inside, and the excessive pressure that Rakhimov was applying, especially to the body, mentally fatigued ZELFA, and the body will follow. ZELFA whacked this guy with body shots, and I was afraid beforehand that ZELFA was going to headhunt too much. And he hurt this guy. And this guy was crying to the referee. ZELFA, a couple of times when this happened, should have steamed in. Just like when Joshua hit Usyk with the right hand borderline, stomach or belt region. The referee didn't say anything, and Joshua just let him off the hook. Not saying he would have knocked him out, not saying that, but he should have followed up. Don't referee the bout. Punch. Don't referee the bout. Let the referee get paid to referee, and you punch. That's what Mike Tyson used to do, and Lloyd Hunnigan, and them guys. What referee? Until I see you in my face, cautioning me, I don't even know who you are.
When he was down, I wasn't going to move back. No way, the referee jumped to pull me off. and stop the fight or can't or whatever. I was just going to keep punching. Even if it was on the ground, I was going to keep punching because it's up to the referee to pull me off.
Was it the right uppercut that decked Rakhimov in the third? I was screaming. Yeah, I thought I was going to get the Joe Cordina Ogawa moment, but he didn't quite get it. Beautiful punch. Beautiful punch. And he buzzed Rakhimov several times. The turning point for me was in the 7th. It looked like Rakhimov warmed up and was able to handle ZELFA's power more effectively than he was in the previous rounds. ZELFA landed a right hand. Bam! My guy just ate it and walked through it. I believe ZELFA was discouraged at that moment there. That's what I believe. ZELFA was ahead on points, I believe, at the time of the stoppage. There wasn't one particular punch that hurt him, but in the 8th he was in bad trouble and his left leg looked like it was buckling underneath him. It left you wondering, was there a leg injury? But he said after that his legs were just not underneath him. Accumulation of punches, basically. 2 knockdowns in the 9th and ZELFA was exhausted. There wasn't no telling punches that put him down. It was just fatigue, accumulation. Beaten fighter. 9th round stoppage win for Rakhimov. He would take on Joe Cordina, more than likely in Wales. They stripped Joe Cordina because of a hand injury, and he was unable to fulfill his mandatory obligations against Rakhimov. ZELFA stepped in, and I was hoping and others were hoping that ZELFA was going to win this and we get the big showdown with Cordina. All British showdown, but yeah. Boxing is no respecter of hopes. It is what it is. Well done. Good resilience shown by Rakhimov. Although Joe Cordina will see a lot that he can work on there in terms of outboxing, catching him with power shots. And I have Cordina a favourite to get back that belt, but it won't be easy. But we said that against Ogawa, and Joe Cordina cleaned him out in 2. Cordina was in attendance in Abu Dhabi. You see him speaking to Rakhimov after. He'll be desperate to get that belt back. They just won and they stripped him. He'll be desperate. Well, Campbell Hatton looked a bit tasty with that left hook to the body, huh? Looked like his daddy for a minute. 1st round knockout for Campbell Hatton. And somehow his name got mentioned alongside Gervanta Davis, and Gervanta Davis said he sent him back to daddy in bad shape and blah blah, and took down the tweet. You know, Gervanta with that taking down the tweet shit. But yo, Campbell looked very good. But Gervanta Davis? Nah, not yet. Not yet. I tell you what, watching Gervanta on that elbow bag challenge, is that what they call it? He hits hard for a man that size. Hits extremely hard. I try not to be a style snob about boxing. Meaning, if you're a little ungainly, a little uncouth, a little uncoordinated to the eye, but you're effective, I'll give you your due. But it's hard for me to root for Jessica McCaskill boxing like that. Sometimes she's looking into the floor, swinging, and she'll just walk in straight lines with her pushing her lead hand out. Not jabbing, but just pushing it out. I don't get it. A lot of people didn't like Sean Porter, but Sean is nothing like this. Sean is a brawler and actually has good footwork and a jab. But anyway, I predicted her to lose to Chantelle Cameron. I just had a feeling that style would come apart when faced with some good boxing, and that's how it turned out. She'll always give people tough fights, like she cut Cameron around the left eye. And I believe she was taking some of the later rounds. Cameron is now undisputed at 140. She's done a thing. She outboxed Jessica with relative ease, actually. Okay, they're both fencing and jousting for position there. Good shots by Bivol. Bivol came back with 2 shots of his own. Close round. Good shots by Bivol. That's what Bivol has to do. We have to see a different Bivol tonight. A different Bivol. And he showed us just a little glimpse of what he needs to do. He needs to fight the fire with fire. Because he can't, there's no way he can just box this guy in the back foot. There's no, it just lose on points. It's too big. You box him on the back foot, then that means the reach deficit you're suffering is even more because you're backing out. Coming forward, you negate the reach disadvantage. I heard people say he's just going to box circles around him. How are you going to just box circles around a big man? Oh, good shots by Bivol. That's it. Try and knock him out, Bivol. Let him know that you can punch. Try and knock him out, yes? make him look slow and clumsy. This is Bivol's standout moment of his career. Not the Canelo fight, this one here. Canelo fight put him on the map. Biggest payday, biggest victory, yes. But if you're talking about pure boxing, watching Bivol take the center of the ring and then back the way bigger man up has a great optical illusion about it. The way he stung Zurdo early, and Zurdo realized he can't just walk through him like he thought he was going to, and like I thought he could. He made Zurdo look a little goofy in there. Yeah, he did. 44-0. Zurdo, the Mexican monster. Did Zurdo actually say he thought he did enough to win with his body work? That may have went unnoticed, but no way. I mean, Bivol had body work in there too. Footwork and hand speed was just light years apart. Maybe Bivol hit him harder than what he expected, and then he came out and said that bullshit. I didn't score, but Bivol must have won at least 10 rounds. At least 10. And if there are 2 rounds you could give Zurdo, even they were closely contested. Like, what was he doing? Trying to counterpunch Bivol? What was you playing at? You really thought you could do that? But this is what happens. Like, when your strengths are taken away early, of crowding and smothering, because you don't want to get stung by razor-sharp counterpunches, he's discombobulated. Game plan over. He certainly didn't have a plan B. If plan B was counterpunching, we can't even count that as a plan against Bivol. As good as Bivol was, I still have a criticism. But it's nitpicking. This is nitpicking. Don't take it too serious if you're a Bivol fan. He could have stopped Zurdo if he wanted. But he's very calculative, isn't he? And, in all truth, why put yourself in danger of getting hit by something you don't need to when you have your opponent mastered? But if he wanted to, he could have stopped Zurdo. That's what I believe. I tell you what, the made me a fanboy moment for him was when he started backing him up. It reminded me of Floyd versus Canelo. They thought Canelo was going to be on the front foot against Floyd, and Floyd's going to be running around the ring. Nah, you're alright, Bivol, man. You're alright. Great hand speed on them combinations as well. Really good stuff, man. And the footwork just, wow. Yeah, really good. Really good boxing. Like, his breathing, like, that's what good boxers do. There's no heavy breathing. No heavy breathing. Total control. And he's got a good poker face too, you know. I do believe Zurdo hit him with some good body shots. But old poker face Bivol weren't going to show him that and show us. That's what you do. That's what Joe Louis did, man, the poker face. You got to be emotionless. Don't show the judges or your opponent or the crowd any weaknesses. Don't give them the chance to start cheering against you. Oh, he's hurt, he's hurt. Yeah, I think there's more in the tank as well. I do believe there's more in the tank. He could have stopped him. But yo, excellent boxing. That's all I can say.